Right then, one of the most popular series that we did both summers that I've been doing the channel out of the studio has been the Shortlist. And we're bringing it back because, one, it's summer, and two, we haven't really got much else to do apart from look ahead at potential signings that would make us a better football team. So what we're going to do over the next couple of months is we're going to go through every single position and we're going to identify 5 people, a shortlist if you like, of transfers that Manchester United could make, or possibly players from within the club, that would make it as a first choice for that position. There's no better place to start than a goalkeeper, right? So we're going to start with the goalkeeper. David De Gea's time at Manchester United and his future at Manchester United is starting to look uncertain. The emergence of Dean Henderson and the job that he's been doing at Sheffield United has really started to put a little bit of pressure on our Spanish keeper. Far from the heady heights of where he was winning back-to-back Player of the Year awards, the last couple of seasons, David De Gea has really started to be shown up with errors, which were very, very, very uncommon during that Player of the Year sort of phase, and also with distribution. The distribution one is perhaps one that's a bit more egregious for people because, for myself, the City game at home, for example, we just ended up going back to De Gea, who would kick it 40 yards, City would win it, and they would start attacking us again. It wasn't the outlet that it perhaps could have been. Now, the sort of uncertainty around his performance, the emergence of what's going on with Dean Henderson, the brilliant backup goalkeeper that we've got in terms of Sergio Romero, it's got people talking. So, with that being said, let's have a look at the possibilities of who could be goalkeeper for Manchester United next season. Now, I start this shortlist on the basis of that I don't think Sergio Romero is quite capable of taking over. I think if Sergio Romero took over for an extended period while someone was injured, don't think anyone would have a problem with that. If we went into a season going, we got rid of De Gea, there's your number one, I don't know if I'd be fully confident with that. I think he's the perfect backup. I think his attitude is flawless. But is he of the required level to be our number one goalkeeper? I have question marks. So on the basis of this video, I'm going to assume that he's still our backup. So then number 5 on our list is David De Gea. I think it's perfectly reasonable to accept that David De Gea could be Manchester United's goalkeeper next season. And one of the reasons for that is his enormous wages. His enormous wages make it very difficult for Manchester United to be able to move him on. Anybody that knows anything about football finance knows that the big thing that clubs are scared of is big long-term contracts. Unfortunately, De Gea, from a United point of view, or positively from a United point of view, is that De Gea is on a big long-term contract. Now, that makes it very hard for the player to be moved on. And that's one of the issues that we're seeing with Alexis Sanchez. It's extremely difficult to move someone on with those sorts of wages. Whether or not you've got someone better lined up, you're stuck with this as a problem. Now, it's not like you've got a traffic cone in there. We're not talking Liverpool with Karius. We're not even talking anything like that. We're just not talking at De Gea being a 10 out of 10 player that he once was. Since joining, David De Gea has kept 108 clean sheets in 304 games, which is certainly not a bad return for any goalkeeper. During the peak of his career, he equalled the record for the most saves in a Premier League game with 14 on that sensational performance against Arsenal at the Emirates. We saw him claim the Golden Glove in 2017-18 for the first time in his career with 18 clean sheets. The doubts really started to creep in last season when he kept only 7 clean sheets, and there was also quite a lot of errors leading to goals. The clean sheets have started to come back, and he's already beaten last year's total with 8 this season, and his save percentage has improved, and he's also making slightly less errors, although there is still a quarter of the season to go for De Gea. It could be time to cash in if you're able to find someone that's willing to take him. Juventus might need a goalkeeper. Could Juventus possibly take hold of them wages? These are things that I couldn't possibly answer. But in terms of the shortlist, David De Gea is on there because he deserves to be on there. He's not terrible. He's just not as good as he once was. In at number 4 on the list then is obviously Dean Henderson. Dean Henderson's gone out on loan and he's absolutely smashed it everywhere that he's been. The interesting thing about what Dean's doing as well is he's going to clubs that are quite successful. Now, they could be quite successful because he's at those clubs, but there's no coincidence here. They're being quite successful. The interesting thing about this, though, is that when you're a goalkeeper, you typically don't see goalkeepers winning Player of the Year awards, things like that, when the team is successful, because that's what strikers and creative midfielders who are scoring loads of goals do. Dean Henderson's won Player of the Year in teams that have been promoted. That's kind of weird. That's kind of unheard of, and that's probably some sort of indication about just how good he is. Currently on loan at Sheffield United, and he's got the second most clean sheets in the league this season with 10, and a save percentage which is about 5% higher than David De Gea's. It's off the back of a championship season where he kept 21 clean sheets in 46 games. He's better than De Gea when it comes to penalties. Since the last time De Gea saved a penalty, which was actually Lukaku in the FA Cup semi-final in 2016, Henderson saved 7, including one against Gabriel Jesus this season. He's only 22. There's absolutely zero cost to bringing him in. The issue that you've got is he ready to be the goalkeeper for Manchester United? Because there is a difference between United's goalkeeper and Sheffield United's goalkeeper. You make an error at Sheffield United, people go, You make an error at Manchester United, Sky Sports have got a debate, TalkSport have got a debate, fan cams are going to go bananas about it, everyone loses their mind. So is he able to ride and he'll handle that pressure? We're going to find out. I think from some of the stuff that I've seen from him in interviews, he's absolutely dying to be the goalkeeper of this football club. He's spoken about wanting to play 500 times for Manchester United. That's mental for starters. But as a goalkeeper, he could easily do that. If he came in, even if he came in a couple of years' time, he could easily do 10 years and get 500 appearances for United. So there you go, Dean Henderson, number 4 on the list. Third on the list then is Jan Oblak. For me, probably the best goalkeeper in the world, and there's many fans, I think, consider him as the obvious successor to David De Gea. Joined Atletico from Benfica for about 14 million back in 2014. Kept 133 clean sheets in 245 games, which is, honestly, it's just so good. He's kept a clean sheet percentage of 54.3%. Been a massive part of, obviously, some brilliant defensive Champions League performances for Atletico Madrid, including Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Juventus. Recently, he was named man of the match in the performance against Liverpool to knock the holders out of the Champions League. He's only 27 years of age, so he's still probably got a good 5 to 6 years left at the top level, I would think. But there is obviously some reservations about this, and there's clearly some mitigating circumstances. He doesn't play in a team with a stupidly high line. He doesn't play where he's required upon for excellent distribution, so you could see similar sort of issues that we've seen with De Gea. He plays in a team that's known for being a super compact, very tight defensive unit that's very difficult to break down. That being said, his save percentage is still quite high. He's also got a release clause, which, like every player in Spain, and it's not cheap. It's 103 million. So you got to say, is his distribution up to what we need for being the sort of team that Solskjaer wants us to be? And is his age a factor, because there's no resale value in a 27-year-old? You're looking at someone coming in and then being your goalkeeper until they retire at this sort of age. If you think you can get 5 or 6 years out of him, and you do believe he's the best goalkeeper in the world, then you might consider it. Otherwise, that fee and this age and everything else, and obviously the ability to move De Gea on might be too big a stumbling block. In at number 2 then is Andre Onana. Now, shouldn't be a stranger to United fans. He was the goalkeeper in the Europa League final a couple of years ago for Ajax against United. 8 clean sheets in the league this season, 5 in the Champions League, 2 in qualifying. Part of the Ajax team that faced us and that also reached the Champions League semi-final last season. He is used to the sort of football that we would want him to be seen from Manchester United. That obviously that Ajax style of play, that very quick, on the floor sort of very technical football that I think Solskjaer's probably a bit of a fan of. And he does get involved in fast counter-attacks and he's got good distribution. Transfer market, I've got him valued at 40 million. Ajax are a strange club when it comes to transfer fees. Sometimes you get unbelievable bargains, and sometimes you're going to pay through the nose for them. I guess it depends on flavour of the month and all the rest of that sort of stuff. They've already agreed a big sale for Ziyech this summer. Do they need money? If they need money, and I think they're a bit like Dortmund in the way they set up their whole structure is to be able to flip players on for big money. If they need money, they could potentially look to move him on. If they don't need to. Wages is an issue for Ajax. United can probably triple or quadruple someone's wages for coming in as a first choice player, and that's something Ajax can't compete with. But if they can hold on to the players, which they have a bit of a mixed bag. They hold on to some, but they obviously allow others to go. So it could go either way, but Onana's number 2 on our list. Number 1 on our list then, for the number 1 spot. We've looked at 4 possible candidates. We've looked at the difficulties you'd have in securing some of the ones that we've got, and the ease in obviously just leaving it as it is, or bringing in someone that we already loan out. This guy's a bit of a potential player. This guy's a bit of someone which could go on to be a great. This is a guy with potential. This is a guy that's doing the sorts of things Dean Henderson's doing, but he's doing them in France, and that's Predrag Rakic. He's doing it with a very unfancied Stade Reims team in Ligue 1. Reims currently massively overperforming expectations as they lie 5th in the league, and he's got the joint most clean sheets with 12 in 27 games, which is actually ridiculous. Conceded less goals in that period than both Mangan and Mandana, he's only conceded 18. He's also been great for Reims in penalty situations this season, saving 3 out of 4, which is it's the exact opposite of what you would expect. The expected goals of a penalty is 0.77, so you're not expecting saves of 0.23. You're expecting saves and misses of 0.23. So saves are around about 0.1. So the fact that he's saving 75% of his saves in penalty situations is massive. He was part of the Serbian youth team that won the Under-19 European Championships and the Under-20 World Cup. He joined Reims last summer for $4.5 million, and it'd be possible that United could pick him up for probably under 20 million, 25 million, somewhere in that kind of range, which would make him a very, very good transfer. But obviously that's 25 million more than you would be going for Dean Henderson. It depends what you want to do. You could potentially cash in on Dean Henderson and probably get a good fee for him, and then use that money elsewhere and possibly reinvest in here. I don't know. It's another option, and that's what this shortlist is all about. It's giving us food for thought. I'm not linking us to any of these players. I'm not saying that United will sign any of these players. This is my opinion on 5 goalkeepers that could be Manchester United's number 1. Any that I've missed? Any that you think that definitely needs to be on this list? Let me know in the comments, and let me know which position you think we should do next. See you in the next one.